I want you to learn from my mistake of trading too soon in the day when the bias isn't super clear, and if anything, I traded against the overall higher time frame trend, which is definitely going to be lower probability. So let's take a look at the markups here. First off, starting on the 15 minute. You know, this is the line in the sand for me where I get that big picture read of what direction trend likely wants to continue. So notice how this yellow view up at first off is the start of week. If we look back just from Monday, it's been a nice bullish week besides that Wednesday we had yesterday. I made a video about that today of just how garbage sideways that was, so definitely check that out. But overall in the week, we're definitely still higher highs and higher lows overall and looking bullish, and we respect that start of week view up, which I just made a YouTube video on that view up as well. So if you want to learn how to use that one as your level to trade off of, definitely go check that one out after you're done watching this. But same thing I've said all the time, in this bullish trend, reading this bearish price action overnight doesn't really scare me or turn me on to shorts, because realistically, it's probably just a pullback in the bullish trend where we're likely to form a higher low, but buyers ultimately step in and continue that trend. So that's why I don't love falling in love with the shorts when it's not actually bearish of continuous lower highs and lower lows below all VWAPs. So that's one, to not get sucked into the shorts. Two, we get at the open, we're right above this overnight VWAP, which is throwing a lot of pins, but it's holding above it. So that's not where I want to be looking for longs or looking for shorts. If we're holding above it with these 15-minute candle closures, let it get below it, let it hold below, and then maybe I could look for shorts. But like I said, being above that start of week and being above this overnight at the open, I should probably be leaning for longs, even though we are below this previous day's New York. So with that said, you go to the 1 minute. This is my ES short, which isn't the worst, but given everything I just said, it's not the best. But I did have lower highs on the 1 minute. And notice how I'm selling it off the bounce of New York view up that sellers are holding control. But are they? We're actually above the New York view up, but I'm taking this entry. I did a good job not to chase this open range low break. The first break of open range low doesn't often run. I speak about that a lot in my course on ASFX TV. It just often doesn't run. So I want to see sellers defend it, and then I'll take it the second time outside the open range low. But we didn't get below the open range low or the New York view up. And there's this start of week view up below us that's kind of holding as support in this bullish trend. So I really shouldn't be leaning for shorts. But I made the mistake of looking at NQ, which looked super bearish, but it's the same idea of the lower highs and noticing how New York view up is being held. So being that NQ was holding its New York view up, I prematurely predicted that ES will do the same just a couple minutes later. Well, NQ is below it, so I'm sure this will get dragged down below any minute now, so let me just get in at a better price. Got in too soon, NQ came back up, and ES came back up. Against the 15-minute trend, against this 1 minute New York view up, and against these start a week view up below me. So definitely not the greatest short. After that, there are plenty of things you probably could do. I mean, you could definitely try to scalp that higher if you were bullish. I just don't love long it here because up until when I got stopped out, we are still technically making lower highs. So I don't love the longs yet either. And then after that play, you could want to long it in here. Super choppy on the 15 minute. Maybe I'm looking for shorts still. Who knows? But if you haven't seen my tweets, and I talked about it last week and this week, this red zone, that's the first 15 minutes of the opening day. It's the same price action we were just looking at, right? My short is over here. If we're in this zone later on, I'd say past 30 to 45 minutes, like we are over here at 10:30, an hour after the open, we're right at the same price where we started. That's not a great sign for trend, because if we were trending, we'd be looking like this. Higher highs and higher lows, or lower highs and lower lows. So being that we're still in the same price range an hour later, that's where I get chopped up. That's where trend is no longer there, if it was ever here today. And I trade looking for breakouts to continue, but there's no continuation, right? You chase that higher, it doesn't run. Okay, let's chase that lower. It doesn't run because you're trapped in this range. It may not be an overall range of support and resistance, but just being in that first 15 minutes open, that range is very tough to trade. So just let it break out. You could definitely try to find longs here, right? Saying that there's higher lows on the bottom and now's it ready to pop. It's tough to predict that, but it is in line with that 15 minutes. I don't hate it, but again, this price action on the top isn't the most favorable for longs either. That this could still want to ultimately come back down or at least to the bottom of the range and then maybe back up. So I just leave it alone. Give me new information. Either give me a new high a day, I'll react to that. Give me a new low a day, I'll react to that. Give me some sort of trend setting in. And then that's exactly what we do. As it rips higher, I get a small pullback, break of high day view up that buyers are back in because it is trending higher. So buyers being back in to continue the trend makes sense because they were trending. They take a small pause. Okay, let's go continue. So now I could capitalize on the trending move if you simply just wait an hour and a half. Let's go back to the charts here on the 1 minute and you'll see once we break out of this zone, it becomes pretty clear what direction we want to trade it. So it's almost comical that if we could just stay patient for this first hour and a half, let it do what it wants until it really picks a direction. We don't need to stress about, is this going to move higher? Is this going to move lower? Don't even waste your energy. Let it become super clear that all you have to do is then just react to when do I want to buy it, not if I want to buy it. At this point, I know I want to buy it. So I know I could just have to wait for a pullback, anchor a high day view up, and I can capitalize on these moves. Simple as that. It sounds simple because it is, more so than trying to predict what all this choppiness at the open is going to do. When you have a flat New York VWAP, some VWAPs above you, some below you, a bearish day overnight, what's going to happen? Don't be afraid to just ask for more information. Say, market, I need new information. Go make a new high, and then I'll react to your next move. I don't need to catch this to there. That was unlikely going to hold the entire way anyways. All right, let's imagine I did long it here. If we're all honest with ourselves, we're not catching this thing to the top for 4R at full risk, right? We're going to piece ourselves out, 80%, whatever, and we're probably out somewhere along here. Definitely a killer trade of 3R, but let's just pretend I got my 1R. I did take that, and I got out on these two strong bars here. I made 1.2R, and then I'm out. Well, I didn't know it was going to rip like this, so it moved higher without me. And then trader B, he waits, sees it drift, then he takes the high day view up here, stop loss at the high, and he makes, let's just call it 1.2R as well. It's the same trade, same distance gotten out of the market. You don't need to get in at the lowest price to look cool on social media. Just get your 1R, get your little piece of the pie. Someone after you is going to come in and let this pull back. They'll catch this part of the move, right? You don't need to catch all of it. You don't need to catch every single one in the day. Just stack your small, consistent wins. Avoid the blowout days. I made a video about that yesterday. Your job here more so should be focused on, I don't want to lose too much right now. I don't want to waste all my risk here going 0 for 3. And then I see the rest of the day turn out like this, painting 3 beautiful longs, but I can't participate because I ran out of risk trading the nonsense in the morning, right? That would be the worst feeling to say, oh, now I know what I want to do. I see it wanting to go higher because it's a break of high day, but I can't do anything about it because we wasted our energy and our risk trading this. Is this the winning price action that we all get payouts from in trend, or is it these higher highs and higher lows? Ideally, 95% of you are going to say these higher highs and higher lows. And that makes sense because that's the easier move to make. And that's the same reason why if you look at yesterday's price action, a lot of people got beat up because there was no trend to go continue, right? Shorts maybe looked good, then maybe longs, but those didn't really follow through. Then shorts, but those didn't continue. So just a whipsaw of a day. And I want to take that one more lesson here, go to the 15-minute side of things. Take it to electronic trading hours. So hopefully those two trades made sense. The longs, they're just simple high day breaks after a pullback. They're almost like too easy. But the beginning first hour and a half of the day was like so difficult to read if it's going to go higher or lower. So if it's difficult, I don't want it. I wanted the trade to be clear, easy. I'm confident. I'm getting in no problem. So that should have been my first signal on, I don't know if I love this short, but let me take it anyways. Well, if you're not sure, you probably don't need to be in it, especially being above this 15-minute daily view up like I was saying, and the hold of this start of week 1. But as I was saying about the trend, I made a video about it, but let's just go over this day yesterday real quick again. A lot of people got chopped up there. I'm going to make up random numbers because it's fun that way. Let's just pretend there's 5 days in a trading week, so let's just pretend 3 of them are going to be super clean. 3 to 4 are trending. At least one's going to be probably pretty ugly, right? On an average week. Monday is your job to make Monday, or money. Tuesday is your job to make money when it's super clean. And today on Thursday. Who knows what tomorrow, Friday is going to bring? But this Wednesday price action, that's not your job to make your P&L or maximize gains, right? It's just to really survive, especially when you're in the beginning or you're struggling, you're just trying to get some momentum going. Your biggest goal for these type of days, lack of trend and sideways, is going to be don't lose your account. Don't go over a max daily loss limit, right? Set that in place on top 1 futures with the Project X. You could set it in so you can't even have a blow up day. But this isn't the trending conditions where I take a high day view up with higher highs and higher lows and I make money like we showed today. So how can I expect to thrive and find these trending setups when there's no trend? So I shouldn't be trying to force my way into these type of markets that I don't trade well, right? We're just stuck in this range since the open. So the earlier you could recognize that, lay off the gas, preserve your capital, then hopefully today when it's clean, kind of like how this was in a mini range at the open, let it do what it wants. You don't thrive in those conditions, and neither do I. Let it do what it wants. Let it become your type of setup with clear trend, higher highs and higher lows. That's where you'll make your money, right? So going back to it, let's just pretend you only lost $100, or you may even break even. Let's just say you lost $100. No harm, no foul. And then today on your winning setup, you made 500 because it was clean trend. You put your risk on it, you got a nice winner. Well, then we're still alive for the week because we made 500 on Monday, 500 on Tuesday. We only lost a little bit on Wednesday, nothing too bad. Or even if it was 500. But if we lost 1,000 on that Wednesday, when we normally have like a $500 winning day, well then today only clawed back half of it. And then tomorrow I got to hope I make another 500 just to get back to where I was at the end of Tuesday. You know, just recovery mode from one day of price action. So recognize that as long as I limit this damage and I can survive for when the trend is optimal again, that's how I'm going to stack the P&L and get it to new equity highs and start taking payouts, right? On the clean trending days, that's when I'm supposed to make money. That's when my strategy makes money. So that's when I almost expect to make money, right? Don't expect to make money every day, but just ideally, right? Clean trend, and clean trend on these 3 days. That's why people were making money with the high day VWAP breaks in trend with the longs. It makes sense. When people are getting beat up on this day, it also makes sense. Because do you see the difference in the price action? Maybe I got to zoom it in so you can understand it. Since the open here, big pop higher off of VWAP. Big pop higher off of the daily VWAP. Nothing. Today, breaks higher, higher highs, and higher lows. All right, so as long as it's trending, I know how to capitalize on that. So if it doesn't look trending, I'm not going to touch it. If it looks trending, I'm going to capitalize on it, make money, take payouts, keep rolling it, keep scaling it. Life is good. So hopefully you guys found value in the 15-minute time frame worth of things. Hopefully you'll start incorporating the start of week view up, right? Like I said, I made a video about that recently. But yeah, just survive. No big red days. Read and react to the VWAP outside of the opening range these first 15 minutes, like I was saying, and just let it do what it wants after that. The trend becomes super clear. The more you wait, the more information you get throughout the rest of the day. So trade safe. Let me know if you need me. Leave a like, leave a comment. Let me know what type of videos you guys want to see next. The links for everything I mentioned in this video are always down below. I'll see you guys on the charts tomorrow morning.